Well, hello, friends. Real quick before we kick off the episode, I have to let you know about something exciting. I am seriously considering having an upgraded version of this podcast where you get bonus episodes and exclusive content. But here's the deal, I'm trying to decide what that content and those episodes should be. I do have some ideas, and I was wondering if you could vote really quick and tell me what you think about what would entice you, what would be interesting to you to get as bonus episodes on this podcast. For example, deeper dives into topics. Maybe I'm answering questions that many of you ask about starting or growing a business. Maybe even overhearing coaching calls, something like this. It would be a paid, upgraded version of this podcast, not very expensive at all, probably just a handful of dollars a month, but it be extra content for you to help you along your journey. My whole goal is to help you build your business dream. And I would love to offer you even more because some of you are asking for it. So if you could just look down in the show notes right now, there's two ways you can give me your answers. Number one, I have a Google form with 5 quick questions. It can be anonymous. You just answer them and vote on what would be interesting to you. Or number two, I have a voice memo system. You can just click it and you could just leave a voice memo with your phone right now and just record it and tell me what kind of topics, what things would be interesting to you behind the scenes, market news, what would be things that would be extra that would be really valuable to you. So thank you all so much. Okay, on to the episode.
Well, hello, this is Kimberly Brock, and for over 20 years, I've been running my own businesses that have not only been profitable, but personally fulfilling to me. So now I'm on a mission to help other new business owners just like you make money doing what you love too. Now we're going to have some fun, so let's get started.
Well, hello, everyone. How are you today? I hope you are having a fabulous day. You're in for a treat today with my guest, Kalie Montz, who is a 5-figure-a-month business owner. Yes, she makes jewelry with her business called Louie Love. I met Kalie a little over a year ago in 2021 when she joined Grow Getters. Yes, she was one of my first members in Grow Getters and was getting everything started with her business. And I remember her telling me that she, was working full time and all this stuff was going on. And it was going to be hard, but she had this dream and she wanted to do it. And so I have gotten to know her over the months, and just her joyful spirit and her determination are palpable, people. She is wonderful. Yes, she is a awesome human being. And I'm just so proud to share her with you today so you can hear how she's done this. Now, she has had a makeup business for a long time where she does makeup for people's events, like their weddings and things like that. So she's got other passions as well. And that's what's so cool, because many of you are multi-passionate as well. You may have a corporate job that you love. You may have something else that you do that you love, but there may be always this little inkling that you've had that you've wanted to start a different business than what you've had already. And I think she's proof here today that you can do that. Now, Kalie doesn't have kids, so she doesn't have those other commitments that I know many of you do. But still, to my point, is that when there is a will, there is a way. She is super busy as well with her job and her makeup and all that good stuff. So anyways, I can't wait for you to hear Kalie. All of her information is below. You can follow her on Instagram at Shop Louie Love. You'll see it all below. So make sure you click it. You can follow her, and she's just an amazing young woman. And I'm so excited for you to hear her. Okay, on to the episode. Well, Kalie, I am so excited that you are here on the She's Just Getting Started podcast. This is an awesome moment because we met, maybe a year and a half ago. And here you are today with your successful business. I can't wait for everyone to get to know you and hear about all that you've accomplished and all of your wisdom. Y'all are in for a super big treat today. So, Kalie, welcome to the show.
Hello. How are you?
I am good. I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. See, we get to record this on Zoom, by the way. Too bad everyone doesn't get to see you right now, but I get to see you, and I'm just so glad to have you.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Well, good. Well, I want you to share with everyone where you are today with your businesses, because y'all, this is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. So I am Kalie Montz. I'm a multi-business owner in the beauty and fashion industry from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a certified professional makeup artist, I've been serving clients for almost 15 years. I am the sole owner of an accessory gift boutique, along with designing and wholesaling some of my products that I carry. My makeup work and earrings have been published in magazines and featured on local news networks. I've also been a thought leader on these topics, providing self-written articles for print and digital publications, all while holding a corporate job for one of the largest billboard companies in America.
Oh my goodness, girlfriend, you are busy. You got a part-time, is that right? Part-time corporate job right now?
Yes.
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
So I'm part-time corporate, and I'll explain all of that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And so you have your jewelry line, which we'll talk about as retail and wholesale. And you've been a makeup artist for 15 years, but I'm sure you love to make up your whole life. So that's why you're doing that. But that is just so wonderful. Now, I know you have had such a great success. Tell us about your jewelry line, because I know that's what everyone's going to be so interested in.
Yes. So I started selling e-commerce, and I thought it would be so fun just to have a small little website and sell online, and it would be easy.
Right.
And then it quickly expanded from my own website to selling on Etsy to later selling wholesale as well. And it's grew pretty quickly for me.
That's so awesome. So for those of you listening that are new to business, you may not understand the terminology of wholesale. So I just want to explain it really quick. So Kalie makes jewelry herself. Okay. She'll buy the pieces, she assembles the jewelry, and she sells them complete. She sells to consumers like you and I. Okay. So we can buy from her, but she also sells to boutiques and other stores who resell her products. Okay. They resell her jewelry to other people. So that is what wholesale is. So when you hear this term as we're talking about it, it's that she sells it to stores, and when we get to go shopping, we can see it in stores like that too. So anyways, and you started this business though, gosh, maybe 2 years ago? Is that what you had said?
Yeah. So I started about 2 years ago, and truthfully, the first go round, I started in e-commerce, and it flopped. It didn't do well. I think I had 2 sales. I spent hours making a website and making it beautiful in my brand. I had it perfect, and then it flopped. I sold one to a friend and one to a family member, and then nothing. So I just had to kind of take a step back, regroup, figure out what I did that wasn't working, and just switch gears a little bit. And then I tried again, and here we are.
Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. So I hope everyone heard that. If you're listening right now, she is being real about it, that when she started her jewelry line 2 years ago, it didn't go so well in the beginning. I assume, were you just trying to kind of piece this together? Like you had the idea, maybe just kind of researching online, or how did you start that first one that didn't go so well? Like what happened, do you think?
Yeah. So for me, like I'd mentioned, I've been doing makeup for almost 15 years now. And as much as I love it, I needed a new creative outlet. So one of my biggest things was, I feel like the more you use your talents, the more talents God's going to give you. So I felt like I just had this desire of something. I needed a new creative outlet. I just wanted something new. And so earrings for me was an easy thing to try, because at that time I was living in a 1-bedroom townhouse and I had no storage for anything. And as much as I love earrings and that's a statement piece of jewelry, it struck with me. And I just felt like that was, my next calling. And so I started my e-commerce, and I realized, I did all the things we all do. I overthought my brand. I figured out my colors, and I got the website going, and I just hours of just nonsense that I wasted time on, that none of it really mattered. So I started my e-commerce, and then I made a couple sales, and then nothing. And then it was crickets, and absolutely no sales were coming in. So I just took a step back, and I tried to figure out, like, what was I doing and why wasn't it working? And that's when I started doing a couple craft markets, like little pop-up markets and craft shows. And I figured, let me just get out the house, sell a couple earrings, and I'll make a few dollars. And that's when I started realizing, like, what I was doing wrong. So the stuff that I thought I was going to sell a whole bunch of was not the products that people liked. and it wasn't the right styles. And so I almost used craft markets and pop-up shops as like vetting. I vetted like what I was hearing people liked and what part of my products that even though I loved them, nobody else did. And so that's when I kind of got a better feel for what people wanted and what styles made sense for me and them. And then I rebranded and I tried again.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think a lot of you out there may be in this position too, where you have your idea initially and you're so excited about it and you go and you start taking steps, but something just doesn't work. You can't quite figure it out. And I just want you to know, if you're listening, that it's okay. And that this is what happens. And Kalie is a success story because she comes out of that. We know the ending here, spoiler alert, that she's got a very successful business now. But y'all, this was just 2 years ago. Like this really isn't that long ago that for the first 6 months, she was kind of struggling and trying to figure it out. So Kalie, you're going through all that and you're kind of testing at the pop-up shows and the craft markets and vetting what products are working and not working. And then kind of what happened in your mind where you had a realization of what you needed to do.
So that's when I rebranded and I rebranded to my business is called Louie Love. And even then I was starting to realize the products that I thought I was going to be selling were not the case. So I started putting products that made more sense and the products that I felt like people were actually wanting. And that's what I started posting on my website. And it was still products that I loved. It was just a little bit different than when I got started. And I think that's maybe where we struggle as new business owners. You just have this brilliant idea and you think everybody's going to love your product and the services you offer. And then nothing happens.
Right.
And so for me, one of the biggest things that I consistently do is I do a few things and then I take a step back and try to get a bird's eye view of, okay, what's been working and what hasn't been working? What's wasting my time? And I do still live by that where if I have to pivot, I will.
Right.
And I don't get myself so stuck on, but this is what I want to sell. You like it or you don't. Like I do pivot. I do change, and I listen to what people like and don't like.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. It's such a good lesson that we're always experimenting. I tell my Grow Getters that, my Just Getting Started group members, the same thing. It's like everything is an experiment and you can't be totally emotionally tied to the result. You have to just be open to whatever that result is. So I love that. So was that about the time when you found the podcast? Maybe you were searching for ways to get more help to really, get serious about this business. Yeah. What happened at that point of time?
Yes. So that's exactly what happened. Like I said, I flopped. And I mean, nobody knew that. I didn't tell anybody that, but I was ready to kind of do it better this time. And honestly, I mean, if I can be vulnerable for a second, there was a couple of times the last couple of years, and I think a lot of people can resonate with this. So there was a couple of times that I was expecting to lose my job. So I had been working in corporate America full time for my entire career. And there was a couple of moments where truthfully, I was waiting to lose my job. And it was any day I could walk in and not have that. So for me, I felt that these side businesses had to work. I felt like I had to be serious this time. And so that's when I found the podcast. And as soon as I found the podcast, because my whole thought was, I'm going to find somebody and they're going to give me this magic formula on how to do business and be successful and do it the right way. And so that's when I found the podcast. And how crazy is it that I'm actually on the podcast a year later, or a year and a half later? Can we just stop for a second and celebrate that?
Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate.
Yes.
We need to celebrate you being here a year and a half later, that you found there was a moment that you were looking in the podcast app, probably for starting a business, and you found it. And here you are. Look, y'all should see her face. And so
I know. Like sometimes you just gotta have a second and just
gotta have a moment.
I did it.
I did it. And I'm here, and it's y'all only a year and a half later. So for everybody who's in that stage where you're like maybe feeling down and you don't know, but you're also like, I got to get serious. Look what can happen.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you're like, okay, I got to get serious about this. I could get let go at any moment.
Yes. So I'm going to make some money. And so that's when I found your podcast. And that's when, truthfully, I just binged it. I was like, this girl is so encouraging, and she's smart, and she's going to tell me all the things that I need to do to be successful. and I just binged all the episodes. And then soon after, and I say soon as in like days later, you had opened up Grow Getters.
Yes.
And so I had signed up for Grow Getters, and I mean, it was just full force from there. I was ready to grab any bit of information, and I was going to learn everything. But it's crazy because I think a lot of us think there's this just special formula and somebody's going to tell me everything to do. And that's not the case. I think for me, it was, I want to consume all the information and I want to learn everything I need to learn to be successful. But for me, I had to also follow, my desires and follow what I felt like God was telling me to do and what paths and directions I needed to go in. So I think that's different for everybody. So as much as I take all of the advice, I did carve my own path and followed some conversations God was having with me. I was like, you sure about this? Like, that sounds crazy. And we just did it.
I know, that's so awesome. And I think it's such a great point that, we all want the magic pill. And in fact, I've had an episode on this, is that we wish there was a magic pill that makes us all successful. And really what's going to make us successful is taking action toward our dream, like actually taking steps, soaking in all the proven steps from people that have gone before you, and believing in God, your faith, whatever it is, that there is something bigger for you ahead, and just to keep moving. So I love that. I think that's great advice. So, okay. So you get in Grow Getters, and I love it because you were like, you're working and you're like fitting all the lessons in when you can. And I think a lot of people are scared too, to get help for their business because they're so busy, but they're the exact people that need the fast track. But at the same time, like, how did you manage that? What, trying to learn and soak in and progress with your business while you had your corporate job?
Yeah. So I was working full time. Spoiler alert, I'm actually now part-time, and we'll get into how that transition happened. But I was working full time, and you were having, so the podcast I can listen to anytime. So that for me, I was making time on drives to and from work or running errands. There was other trainings that maybe I missed them and I couldn't make them throughout the day, but I was catching up on everything that was recorded and just binging episode after episode or video after video whenever I had a second. So I just soaked up as much as I possibly could and just took the steps that I felt like resonated with the part of the process I was in.
Yes.
So if you were talking about, and you actually had an episode, I just listened to it, episode 158. And you talked about stop trying to cross bridges before you get there. And so I think for me, I had to consume what you were saying, but in a way that made sense for the phase of the business I was in.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So you start taking steps, you start really ramping up Louie Love, and then walk us through that. And then also going part-time.
Okay. So what happened for me was, I guess, a few months in, is when things started getting busier with wholesaling. So what I did with that was I was selling direct with e-commerce on my own website.
Okay.
Then I was also selling through Etsy. I did a little bit on there. And then people started asking me for line sheets. And I think it's so funny as a business owner that you don't know what you have to do, or you don't know what you're supposed to do until something happens, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
People started asking me for line sheets, and lo and behold, I'm Googling what the heck is a line sheet. And so I was like,
you're like, what is that?
What's a line sheet? I thought there was some magic formula on how to price for wholesale. And I didn't know anything about what they were even asking me. And I will never tell my first customers that, but I was Googling, what does that mean? And then I was turning around, figuring out how that can work for me. And then I was presenting people line sheets, and, they started ordering wholesale from me. And taking a step back, I realized, like, if I listened to advice from everybody, I would have never got into the wholesale world, because for me, I kept hearing wholesale, that is other people buying your products basically at a discount. Most of the time it's like half off. And I had a lot of people telling me, like, that's not a good route to take, because why would I want to let other people make heavier profit on my products? And for me, that wasn't the case. For me was, how about I just take a step back and look at wholesaling as marketing dollars? And I looked at it as, okay, I can have other people selling my products, doing the hard stuff for me, and they're buying in bulk. And I looked at it as like, I'm reaching customers. I have wholesale accounts in almost 10 states. And those are customers I would have never found myself. And so I got very big into the wholesaling aspect of things. And after probably getting 10 or 15 wholesale accounts, I got so busy, and I've been a one-man show for the past year and a half. I've been running this business by myself. Now, that's not to discredit. I have an amazing support system at home. I have a man that I truly love that helps me with everything I need to and is my biggest cheerleader. And so it's not to discredit the fact that I have an amazing family that will help me anytime I need and support system. But I was doing everything by myself. I was packaging orders. I didn't have any employees. And so I got very busy. And I remember one day I walked into my corporate job. I walked into my boss's office and just started like crying my eyes out. And my boss is fantastic, but she was like, "What's happening?" And I told her, I was like, "You know the situation. You know that unfortunately I've been waiting to lose my job. And now I've built a business and I doubled down on my business, and it has grown in a way that I can't handle." And so she let me stay at my job and do it on a part-time basis,
Whoa.
which I'm so thankful and blessed for, because I mean, as a business owner, there's always something to do. And I was running out of time in the day.
It was so wonderful that she was willing to do that for you, because she saw that you were busy and she didn't want to lose you. I think that's a testament to how much they appreciated you too. But to see that you were dedicated to this job, but you just didn't know how you were going to balance it all with your new business and all that. So I think that is a lesson for everyone listening, that if you are in a corporate job and your business does get so busy where maybe you're not quite ready to quit your job yet, is there an option for a part-time? I mean, I did that after I had my first child. When I worked at Dell Computers, they let me come back part-time for a while. I think I even asked, like, is there a part-time option? And it was the greatest thing at that time. I absolutely loved it. And so I was able to kickstart my business on the side too when they let me do that. So that was pretty awesome. So you get to go part-time, your business is ramping. And so what happens next?
I had more time, which was amazing. And I jokingly say my corporate job is now my fun job.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. And I don't plan on leaving. I like being there, but I also have the love and passion for my own business. So I kind of get the best of both. And I think that's where people struggle a lot, and they think they have to pick one. And I don't think you have to. One of my biggest, I guess, mottos that I've lived by, I had a local pastor say one time, and it just like stuck with me for years. That was, don't insult your big God with small dreams. Don't insult your big God with small dreams.
I love that.
And that to me was life changing, because it's, why can't I have both? Why can't I have, this and also do that? And I think that's where people get stuck. Of us new business owners, we're like, great, we're going to quit our job one day, and then I'm going to have a successful business. And for me, that wasn't the case. I wanted to do both.
Yeah. I think people are going to realize that too. Yeah. I think even if you have kids too, some people think, how am I going to manage this with kids or a part-time job or whatever it is, that you can make it work. You can work around it, and to not insult our big God with our dreams, because, we think they're little, but we can do it, and he's going to get us there.
Yes. And sometimes I feel like, my dreams, I'm saying these out loud, and wouldn't that be cool if I had this? And you just dream out loud, right? And sometimes I just wonder if God's like laughing at me, like, that's it? That's all you want? And I just feel like there's so much more we have to allow ourselves to have. So where it stands today, I have since opened up a store. So I have my earrings, but still online. I still do wholesaling. I have a large customer list for my wholesale boutiques, and they are all amazing. And then I also decided that well, maybe I didn't decide. Maybe that was a moment where God was like, we're going to open up a store. And I thought that was nuts. I thought, how in the world am I going to be able to open up a store for just earrings and just small little gifts and accessories? And today I have a very successful brick and mortar accessory boutique. It is amazing.
How did you find the location?
Okay, so actually, funny enough, you had a podcast, or I don't know if it was a video training that we did, but I remember you talking about go where your clients are. Go like wherever your clients are at, go there. And, however that made sense to me in my head, the opportunity for a suite in a salon. I don't know if you know the concept behind salon spa and suites, right? So with me doing makeup and with me selling jewelry, I merged the two. And so I opened up a suite in one of the salon suite businesses. And so my shop is inside of that. And I also am next door to 30 other entrepreneurs, 30 other, beauty professionals. And so there's constant traffic of people getting their hair done or their nails done.
It's genius.
Yes.
Genius.
It's genius. I mean, it makes perfect sense for me. So I remember when the thought of opening that up came about, I was like, this is crazy. What am I doing? And then it has been amazing.
Oh my. I love it too, because you don't have the commitment of having your own lease, like on your own property or your own store. Like you don't have to do that. Like you get to be a part of a store where it already has traffic. Is everyone hearing this? There's already traffic in the store. She doesn't have to worry about drawing people to a store. People are already coming in. And when you're getting your hair done and all this and makeup done, you are in the buying mood and you want to look better. You're in that mood to like, okay, I need to spruce myself up, and you like actually want to buy stuff. And it's not like a hard sell as a business owner. You don't have to hard sell these people. They're already in the mood. They're walking by and they're like, oh my gosh, that's cute. I'm sure they're grabbing all your stuff because you have a lot of, did you say you have like Mardi Gras theme and like, what are the themes of your earrings?
Every holiday.
Every holiday. Okay. So they're holiday theme. How fun is that? So they're bright.
Yes. So my brand is bright colors, statement piece jewelry, loud and obnoxious and just fun, festive for every holiday.
I love that so much. I love how you're describing it because you know what? When people like those kind of earrings, they love those kind of earrings and they will buy. So obviously you've hit a niche here because, there's all kinds of jewelry. My sister has a jewelry line and it's very refined and like, high end, and it's very classy and small and dainty. And you're like, no, mine's loud and fun and bright and obnoxious. And we want that sometimes, we want that actually a lot of the time. I try to wear stuff too, not today because I've got these headphones on and all that, but I love fun, bright earrings. So that's so awesome. And so going wholesale and having retail is a lot to manage. You're probably going to have some type of assistant at some point, I'm sure, but it's just such great news that you have made this successful. Where do you see it going from here?
Oh goodness. So for me, I've just always did a few things. I've gotten through some, busy seasons, and then I try to take a step back and I try to figure out so I celebrate my milestones a lot. I write down my goals, and when I first started, I feel like that's where we kind of all have a problem with. We don't celebrate ourselves enough.
Yeah.
We don't actually take a second to step back and say what did I do the last month? Because you're just so fast paced and you're going so fast to, just stay above water. And like I said, for me, I'm pretty much a one-man show besides my amazing support system at home and my mom that will literally work for free anytime I ask her to, or coming home and my family's helping me card earrings. But for me right now, I had hired a virtual assistant. I have also hired someone to come 1 or 2 days a week on a part-time basis to help me out. And that alone has taken such a load off of me. So
love it.
I'm at the phase with my brand where I'm trying to figure out how much do I want to grow? Because I am busy and I do want to keep both sides of having the corporate job as well as having this business as well. So I don't know how big I want to grow or where I see myself in 5 years. I just know that I love where it's heading right now. And I'm almost just kind of soaking that in. because some of my dreams are crazy, and some of my dreams, I'm like, wouldn't this be cool if I did this? And that kind of conversation I have with myself almost every day. I definitely see growing the store. I definitely see, staying in person sales are fantastic for me. My wholesale business grows probably a handful of new boutiques every single week.
Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful.
So I definitely see building that piece up.
That is so wonderful. And by the way, if you're in Grow Getters with me, Kalie's going to be coming live on there soon with me to talk to everyone about how to grow their businesses with wholesale and just things that she's done. So, because I know we could sit here and talk for 80 hours, but I just had to plug that really quick because you've got so much knowledge about how you've done this in such a short amount of time. It's just amazing. I mean, it really is. Because to think that you started and you were making, you said you'd make $100 or $500 a month, and I don't know if you want to share where you are today or give us a little hint, but I think it's amazing and inspiring for everyone to hear.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. When I first started, I was so excited to make one sale a week. And then that was just huge for me. I was selling one thing on the website, and then it turned into like two things. I was making it probably about $500 a month. That was a year and a half ago. And to this day, I can say 5-figure months in sales have become normal for me.
Oh my goodness. I mean, y'all, this is real. This is a real life person who started her first earring business, right? 2 years ago. It didn't do that great. She was just barely getting any sales. And it's not that she didn't have great stuff. She had great earrings, but now she's refined it. She sought help. She got into a program to help keep her focused and accountable. She listening to podcasts. She's been reading books, which she's going to give us the books that she liked to. She's been dreaming big and not thinking that your little passion, whatever you think it's a little passion for earrings or whatever it may be. We have people in Grow Getters are selling dog products and people that are selling services, whatever it can be. It can grow to 5-figure months in a year and a half. And it's not like you had some crazy exposure, that you're famous, that you paid $1 zillion for ads. I mean, this is just you organically growing it, right?
Yes. And what's interesting is if you go on my social media, I have like no followers. I have a social media account. It's at shop.louielove on Instagram. And I think I have 1,500 followers. Like, you look at my Instagram or my social media and it looks like nothing. And that's something that everybody told me when I first started, like, you have to be on social media, and I am. But for me, that doesn't measure success at all. The amount of followers I have gives zero credit for how successful this business is on the back end. And I think people worry so much about that. They worry so much about my social media following. They worry so much about getting my brand exactly right, getting my colors, my logo, my website. And they don't start until they feel like they perfected all of that. And I'll tell you, if I cared that much about getting every little piece of everything perfect on my website, I would have never started.
Yeah.
If it had to do with not having a single typo or getting that color pink right on my brand, I would have never started. And I think we focus too much on the little things as opposed to just do it. You don't get good at something until you actually are diving straight in. And something else is, when you're in business, something I've learned that you push yourself to the edge. And something new will happen in your business that you'll freak out. You'll be like, what in the world? I don't know how to do this thing. And then you do it. And then the second time it happens, you're thinking like, I've done that before. I guess I could do it again. And then the next time it happens, it becomes normal. And I think that's what everybody focuses so much on is, I want to learn everything. And it's almost like you don't need to learn everything. You need to just start. And the real life experiences are going to come, and you're going to figure out what you need to learn and how to do it. And then you'll get pushed to your edge and you'll do it a couple more times and it becomes normal. And that's kind of how you grow. And I think that was a big thing for me was I organically grew with my business. I learned what I needed to learn in those moments. I remember when I first started wholesaling, the first customer asked me for a line sheet. And there I was Googling, what in the world is a line sheet and what does that look like? And how do I price wholesale? What's the formula behind that? And then I turned around and sent them the information, but they don't know that. And I think there's something to say about fake it till you make it. You don't have to tell people, oh my God, you're my first customer. Oh my goodness, I've never done this before. Like, no, don't do that.
You don't have to say that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't just say again what you just said about social media, because I think it's a huge point. In today's world, we are taught to believe that if we don't have a huge social following, or we're not on social all the time, or if our whole Instagram grid doesn't look amazing, that this is hurting us and we're not building our business. Anyone who's followed me for any amount of time knows that I always say this as well, that doesn't necessarily mean you have a big business or not. It's not a gauge. I think I've built my businesses over the past 22 years with rarely any social media. I've just now started to get into it. It is not why my businesses were successful. Is that to say that other people can't build successful businesses on social? No, there are plenty of people that are super successful by being that perfect Instagram person and posting all the time and doing all the right reels and knowing all the right stuff, but it does not necessarily translate to sales. And it is not an indicator of a successful business or not. So for those of you that have been stressed about social media, because a lot of people that follow me are, and they think that that's what's going to be their ticket to success. It's not. As Kalie just said, it's feet on the street. It's learning what you need to learn at a specific time and not perfecting it and then moving forward. So I appreciate you so much saying that, Kalie. I think it lifts pressure off a lot of people who are thinking that, oh, if I'm not doing everything on social, when really there's much more important things to be working on right now that actually drive people to your business and grow your business. And for you, it's been getting into wholesale has been a huge ticket for you, and now moving that into your store, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I agree with you so much on this, and I love it. So what are some tips that you could give all of those people that are listening right now that are just maybe in the starting stage? Maybe they're just about to start their first business. They're getting steps together, or maybe they're like where you were, where they kind of started something and it's not really getting any traction and they're hearing crickets. What advice do you have for people in the starting stage?
I think for me, it was as simple as it sounds, is just start, and it's funny that that's the name of your podcast, but it's true. You don't learn what you need to learn, and you don't know what you need to know until you just get going with it. I think you definitely need to find some resources that will point you in the right direction. For me, there's two books that I would love to recommend because I live by them now. One is from Amanda Francis, and she teaches you how to just expect great things for yourself. And all of the little dreams that you have, or all of the misconceptions that you have about who should be successful and why it shouldn't be you, and she squashes all of that. And I think that was definitely put me in a different mindset, and it put me in a way that I can be successful, and I am, going in the right path. And every time I remember throughout the past year, every time I started second guessing, what am I doing? Like, this is crazy. There's no way I could be a good business person and be successful. And then I would get another big wholesale customer, or my website would have another 5 sales within that day. And it was almost like every time I started questioning myself, God was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Just keep going. I told you we're going on the right path. And so I would say just keep going. And, and if it's not working, then take a step back and see what is working. But I think what hinders people is their own mind, their own mindset. And that was, Amanda Francis, that book that it just taught me that I deserve great things. And it teaches you how to squash any limited belief about yourself that you have. One of the quotes that she says, and I kind of switched it to make more sense for me, but it's a belief that I have to keep telling myself, but it says, my services and God-given talents are of high service and worthy of massive compensation. And it's a belief that I had to decide I do serve people well, and I do have great products I am of high service to people. My products are amazing and people want to work with me, and it's worth massive compensation. And I think that's the problem, is people don't expect themselves to be successful. Therefore, you're not going to be successful. But if you expect great things for yourself, you're going to succeed. You just have to get out of your own head.
I'm going to have the links below so everyone can get these books if you want to and look at them. And then you said there was also another book that you love too.
Yes. So if there's anything I can say I regret over the last year and a half is I didn't pay myself. And sometimes that makes people lose motivation. For me, it did not. But I kept thinking, I want to grow my business and I'm going to keep putting whatever I would have paid myself with back into the business. Don't do that. If I could tell any startup business what not to do, that would be it. I would say you have to pay yourself. And there's a book called Profit First that a friend recommended to me by Mike Malowski. And it basically teaches you that you can allocate your money in different buckets per se. It's kind of basically the envelope system in a digital world. So you can allocate, this is how much I'm going to take as an owner's compensation, and this is how much my profit is going to be, this is how much my materials are going to be, and my operating costs, et cetera, et cetera. And I regret not paying myself. And I just recently, the last couple months, started to, and it has been changing my world. It keeps me on track. It keeps me motivated, and it keeps me not overspending in, certain places that I shouldn't.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that is a great book. I totally agree. And I think it's so good that you started doing that, because I think we have to see the income coming in and realize, oh my gosh, we are making money. Because if you're not really setting it aside, you think you're doing good, but then you're like, wait, what do I have to show for it? Do I actually have money in the bank from this? And so we got to give ourselves boundaries and keep ourselves in line. So I love that so much. So any other advice that you want to share for all the newbies starting? Any other, overarching themes or anything you want to leave with the listeners today who are starting?
Absolutely. So if I can tell people, one last thing, I think that would be to keep track of your milestones and celebrate yourself often. And what I did was I wrote down some milestones before I hit them, but I wrote down, I'm going to have 10 sales on my website. I'm going to have 50 sales on my website. I'm going to have 100, and so on and so forth. And I did that with dollars too. I'm going to sell $1,000 and 2,000, 5,000. And there is something so satisfying to scratch those numbers out and to look back and see, this is what I kept track of things each quarter. And this is what I accomplished each quarter. And I started counting, this is how many new boutiques I've had, and this is how many sales I've had. And there's many times I come home and I tell my boyfriend, we're going to pop open some champagne, or we're going to dinner and have a glass of wine because we just got 5 new boutiques. And he celebrates with me. And it's so small and silly little things that we celebrate, but you need that. You need to be able to come home to your family and say, like, I did this, and have like a little mini celebration for yourself, because it keeps you motivated. It keeps you excited. And truthfully, I won't spoil it, but I have some huge milestones coming up on some numbers that I never expected for myself. And we're already like, oh my gosh, how are we going to celebrate? What are we going to do? I can't wait to announce this. Like, to all the people that have helped me throughout, the past year and a half.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You definitely have to celebrate yourself in even little wins. I was celebrating 5 sales a week. Now I'm celebrating 500 to, thousands of dollars a week. Like it's crazy how far you can go.
Yes. Oh, I think it's just so awesome. It's just so wonderful to see that you made it happen. And for anyone listening today, that you can do this. No dream is too small for our big God to turn it into something huge and awesome in your life, just like's happened to Kalie. I mean, I love that feeling because I know the feeling of starting out with, $100 or $500. I mean, when I started my businesses years and years ago, 22 years ago, I was like, if I can make $500 a month, I will be jumping up and down, and had no idea what it was going to turn into. And it's the same for you. You had no idea in a year and a half, you're going to have 5-figure months from starting out with, 5 sales or whatever. It's like, it's insane that you've gotten here, but it's not something that is not doable. This is doable for people. Like I said earlier, this is not because she's famous or she's an influencer or because she has 1 million Instagram followers. This is just her doing it and turning her jewelry business into something amazing and going where her people are, right? And her people wanted wholesale. And so she started wholesale, even though some recommended not to do it. Wholesale is amazing. I did wholesale for my product businesses, and I think it's awesome. And I can't wait for you to share more, with my groups about how they can do that and how you've done that. I think it's awesome. So if people want to find you online, what are the ways? Like, what's your website? And tell us your Instagram again, just so if they want to follow you, or if there are any stores listening who want to check out her fun and bright jewelry, where they can find you.
Yes. So I have, my website is shoplouielove.com.
And Louie is Louie?
Yes.
Okay.
And then shoplouielove.com. And then you can find me on Instagram, which is shop.louielove. And then on Facebook, Louie Love Gifts and Accessories.
Awesome. I'm going to have all the links below so y'all can check it out. Kalie Montz, you are awesome. You are one amazing lady. And I know your faith has gotten you through. I know that you are a go-getter and you take steps, and you're not just going to let this dream fly by, that you're actually doing this. And I just think you're such a great example. And I appreciate you so much being here. You have it all. You have the looks, the brains, you have everything. And I'm just so, so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I will say I think we all do that. We look at somebody else and we're like, I could never do that. That's crazy. She has X, Y, Z. And I think we all truly are, a mess.
Yeah, we're all a hot mess.
I think we all look at ourselves. We're like, who, me? Like, you're talking about me? No way. No, everybody else is way more organized and way more successful. And it's true. Everybody has it in them. It's just, you have to believe it in yourself, and you have to trust God's going to lead you in the right directions. And it really is hard to take a step back and like celebrate your wins, but you have to. You have to.
And I love it because today we get to celebrate you and all your success. And I'm just so happy and honored to be able to share you with the world. And I just thank you for believing in me as well. You had to pay money, make an investment to get in one of my programs. And then also that you, and I have to tell everybody too, how awesome this is. So Kalie had reached out to me a couple months ago. I don't even remember, maybe it was only a month. I don't know. Time's flying by, just wanting to share. She sent an email to her, a message to thank me for helping her over the year and a half. And it was just so sweet. And I realized, how kind is this person just to unsolicited reach out? And then it hit me and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so amazing. I have to share her with the world. And so that's how she's here today. I'm just so honored. And I've just watched you fit all of this in and all of your busy hours with working your corporate job and then all of your success and wholesale. It just makes me so happy. I'm so happy for you. So thank you so much, Kalie, for being on today.
No, thank you. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate everything you've done and all the advice and crazy questions I've ever asked you. Thank you.
I love it. Y'all know I love it. I love it. Well, you have an awesome day. And again, everybody can click the links below and check out Kalie's jewelry and all her good stuff and follow her on Instagram and all that good stuff. So until next time, thank you, Kalie.
Thank you.
Now, this episode may be over, but our relationship does not have to end here. Head on over to KimberlyBrock.com. And yes, you can get more valuable information for your journey. And you know what? You don't need to go through this alone. I would love to help you. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.